Okay, good, good. Okay, so today we will study part one, the research process. Um, we in this chapter we will study about the nature of social research, why we have to do that, and secondly, we will try to find out the difference between quantitative research and qualitative research. And also later, we will have a look on research insight, how we will decide a research. And finally, is the planning of research project and formulating research question. Uh, First of all, why we have to do the research? Because if we want to know further about the phenomenon in this society, about the current problem in this society, we need to do the research. For example, if you want to find out the impact of social media on the academic performance of UEF students, there is no other way to do that rather than doing a research about that. You have to do a survey, you have to do the interview, you may have to do the participant observation, you may have to do the content analysis to answer that question. Besides that, for the problem related to journalism, such as the impact of the article published on a newspaper on the audience, or if you want to know about the policy or regulation related to this media field, and how we can develop a suitable policy. Or if we want to know about the public engagement, the awareness in communication campaign, or we want to know about the political economy, how a newsroom will get more revenue, get more income, or if we want to know about the effectiveness of our internal public relations, we need to do a research in a simple form, like the survey, to the complex form, like the mixed methods. And it is actually a difficult process, and that's why you will only study about that when you are a third-year student. The media data analysis seeks the answer for the question. For example, how we can evaluate the impact of media on the awareness, how we can evaluate the impact of media on human behaviors, or how we can evaluate the impact of media on economic development. We need to do the research, we need to collect the data, and we need to analyze the data to make the data tell a story, to answer our question. And it can be said that the only activity that can answer the question is doing research. And because the media is a part of a social scientist field, so we will study about the nature and the process of social research. And what is the meaning of social research? Social research will seek the answer to the question in the social scientific fields, such as psychology, human geography, social policy, politics, media, and so on. There are many major in the social scientific field. Okay, and about the research process, we have 7 basic elements of a process of social research. First of all, a literature review. Second, concept and theories. Third, research question. And then sampling case. Next is data collection. And the sixth one is data analysis. The final one, the easiest one, is writing up. Many students wait to the very end of their when they do the essay. They wait to the last 2 weeks to write their essay, and I think it's enough time for that. But actually, it's not, because writing up is just a very small part of a research process. The other part before that is the one that takes a lot of time, especially data collection and data analysis. And that's why for the graduation essay, you have 3 months to complete that. And I assure to you that 3 months is the hard work, and you need to use it fully to have a good research. Okay, I will go into the detail of the research process. First of all, the literature review. What is the literature review? This is before you begin a research, you need to do that. You need to read what the other people already do about this topic. For example, your research is about the impact of social media on UEF students. And when you read the previous article about this topic, you found someone already did that. But it still focus on the student of the communication, not the general student at UEF. And you can do the research. It's a bit bigger than that. So the literature review will let you know what is already known about the topic and what is not. And secondly, it also allows you to choose the concepts and theories that could be applied for the topic. When you do the research, you will see that there are various kinds of theories that could be applied for the topic. For example, there could be a theory saying that the media has a strong effect on human behavior. However, another theory saying that the media had a weak effect on human behavior. Which one is correct? Actually, there is no correct one and no wrong one. And you have to choose the theories that is most suitable for your research. Thirdly, what kind of research methods that can be used for your study, that can be used for the topic? For example, you can use the content analysis or the information on social media, but you cannot use the interview if your participants do not want to take part in the interviewing. And you also learn about the argument about the topic. What is the scholar mostly agree about, and what is they still have the controversies about. Some of them may say, I observe that UEF students do not under the strong impact of social media, but other scholars may say, I observe that the public relation UEF students are under the strong impact of Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. So we need to know about that to say, okay, if there are any conflict in these studies, what can we do to confirm that? And next one, we need to find out about the class of evidence, if exists. For example, some of evidence saying that in the interview, they found out that UAF students have a strong satisfaction toward the service in the university. However, by using the survey, the another scholar found a different picture, saying that only 20% of them feel pleased with the service in UAF. In that case, what will we do? And lastly, we need to find out about the key contribution and the key contributor in this field. For example, if you study about the qualitative research, you must know about the key authors in this field, and you must know about the Chicago style, if because they are the contributor in this field. So I have a question for you now. When do we need to do the literature review? Anyone have answer for that? Okay, if you do not answer that, I will skip that question. But please bear in your mind, this question will be appear in your quiz, and the quiz will be great. So if we skip that, you will not know the answer. Okay, I will move the next slide. And secondly, we will study about the concept and theories. The concepts are the labels that we give to different aspects of social work. For example, when we mention about social status, we need to label who could be considered as a poor person and who could be considered as a rich person. If we make a concept about the power, we need to label. We need to give a clear definition of who could be considered as having strong power and who could be considered as the disadvantaged one in the power game. For example, in our research, we could mention about active audience and the passive audience. If I do not give the concept about active and passive audience, can you tell me who is the active audience and who is the passive audience? There is no way we can do that because there is no clear definition. Then the concept will help you to give the clear definition between them. Here, I have an example for you. The research is about the impact of economic and financial pressure on the development of Vietnamese societies after đổi mới. So, what concept that need to be defined here? Do you know how about đổi mới? Do you understand what is đổi mới?
It's after
Yeah, 1975. I think it is after that, right? But you need to give the definition about that. What is đổi mới? And and similarly, about the economic and financial press. We have a lot of newspapers in Vietnam, more than 2,000. And of course, you cannot study all of them. Then you also have to define what is the economic and financial press in your study. It could be Tuổi Trẻ, it could be Sài Gòn Giải Phóng, it could be Thanh Niên. But if you do not mention this about it clearly, it will create a confusion about that. So that's why we need the concept. And as far as I observe, many students in the essay, they still haven't give the clear definition of what they want to mention about. And thirdly is about research question. Research question is something that you want to find out in your research. You do the research because you want to find out the impact of Facebook on the academic performance of the public relations student in US in 2020. The research question should be precisely and exactly at that point. Some students have a very big research question, like they want to find out the impact of social media on Vietnamese students. There's no way they can do that in 3 months. And when they do that, it can be said this research is not enough, and this research should not have a very high grade because it cannot answer the research question. And at the early stage of research study, the research question and literature review could be changed. When you read the literature review, you develop the research question. But later, when you read more literature review, more document, more research in this field, you say, oh, my research question is too big. My research question is too difficult to find out. You can change it. But in the early stage of research study, but later stage is impossible. And therefore, you need to spend enough time to develop that. Without the correct research study, research question, you cannot develop a good research. For example, here is an example for you now. A researcher wants to know if the communication campaign for recruiting new students to public relations bachelor degree program at the UEF successful or not. And to answer that, the researcher needs to develop a very precisely research question. For example, that researcher had to question about the increase of new students in the next coming year. the increase of the awareness of high school students to the image of UEF, the increase of the profit UEF get in the next 3 years. And only when that researcher can answer that question about the new the percentage of new students, the percentage of profit, the increase of awareness, that researcher now are able to say if that program is successful or not. Without this like very precisely research question, that person cannot answer that this question correctly. But it's a very common mistake made by the student. The third one is sampling case. Sampling case is very important because, for example, I want to study about the social media on UEF students, and currently, do you know how many students that UEF having now? 10,000, 20,000, 15,000? Do you have any ideas about the number of students in UEF at this moment? No? More than 10,000. Yeah, around 12, I will say 12,000. So if you want to answer that question, impact of social media on UEF students, the perfect way is you have to do the survey on 12,000 UEF students. Do you have enough time and do you have enough resource for doing that? No, no way, no way. 12,000 is a lot, and it's a very big research project. Therefore, we need to do the sampling. The sampling is the small population, the small number of the population. It shares the similar characteristics of the big one. For example, is a UEF student. This one also has to be UEF student. This one is the first year UEF student. This one also has to be the first year UEF student. And the UEF student in different faculties, in different majors. And this one, you also had a similar distribution of UEF students on different majors. One of the common mistakes that I saw some of students in some of student essays that they choose the convenient sample, which is their friends or someone who also study public relations, and said this is UEF student. Is it not enough? Is it just UEF student who study public relations in K 2000 in the course 2017 for example? So this one and this one must be similar, must have a similar character. So I have a question for you now. I have a population and I have a sample, and I found out that sample has orange color. So what I can say about the color of the population? What color is it now? The red, the yellow, the orange. What color is it? Yes, correct. It's orange because they share the similar character. What is the characteristic of each sample? Will expect to be also the characteristic of this population. If we choose the correct sample and we observe that the social media had a strong impact of UAF students, we can say 4,000 UAF students. They also under the strong impact of social media. And how we do the sampling, we will study later. And next, in the next one, we will also have to do the data collection. And there are so many ways to collect data. We can collect data by interview people. We can collect data by doing the survey. We can collect data by observe the way they behave in the context. We can collect data by doing the focus group. We can collect data by combine on or some of these research methods. There, in general, the qualitative and quantitative way for data collection, and they are so different, but later you can study that they also can be combined with each other. The qualitative will focus on the meaning in the context, and the quantitative will focus on the number in the generalization of the data. Here I have an example to find out the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the reading behavior of Vietnamese students. The researcher conducted an online survey of 100 UEF PR students. We will see that there are so many problems in this way of doing research. First of all, the researcher wants to find out about the reading behavior of Vietnamese students. However, that researcher surveyed 100 UEFPI students who could not say that represent for the whole population of Vietnamese students. And secondly, that researcher do an online survey to find out about the reading behavior. It is a common practice in student essay. However, I would say it is not enough because the reading behavior may relate to many other things, and online surveys could not answer that question fully, and that researcher needs to do more if he wants to find out about the reading behavior of Vietnamese students. So that's why you see there are some students do not get very high score in their essay because it's wrong, just wrong in the beginning. And the next one is after you have the data, you need to do the data analysis. You need to make the data tell a story. For example, you do the very precisely very complex surveys on 10,000 students. It takes a lot of your time. It takes a lot of your research. And then you show that survey, the result of that survey to the reader. The reader don't understand anything. They just see a lot of number. It doesn't mean anything to them. You need to analyze it. You need to summarize it. You need to say there are the significant difference in the result. And to do that, you clean the data at first. You need to do the coding. you need to do the transcription, you need to do different kind of analysis. And after that, you will have some kind of information. For example, here I have two statements. First of all, 80% of regular readers subscribe for the news. So what does it mean? Can I say that the news has been doing a good job, or the news has been doing a bad job? Good or bad? Yes, correct. The news has been doing a good job because majority of the reader come back to the news and they willing to pay money for that. And secondly, I have another statement saying that 20% of customers have negative reaction to the new advertisement. What does it mean? It means that the new advertisement is good or the new advertisement is bad. Still good, but not enough information, right? We need to understand why they had a negative reaction. They could have a negative reaction because it's too loud, too noisy for them. Or they could have a negative reaction because it's related to a sad story and they don't like to see it. And we need to find out about that to improve that advertisement. So in some data, is it enough to tell the story? Some data, we need to dig deeper until we can understand why. And finally, writing up. Writing up here is the structure of 7 parts. And fortunately for you, I only ask you to do the research proposal. In reality, this process could take a lot of time, maybe months, and sometimes it could be decades, could be many years to complete that. And such of the research is very valuable. We will do the literature review, do the concept. We will formulate the research question. We will collect, we will choose the sampling. We will collect the data. We will analyze the data, make the data tell the story. And finally, write it up. Many students only think about that. The last step of the research process. The last step is the easiest one. And it's only able to be good if we do the previous one good. So the next time when you do the research, remember spending your time on that. And here I gave you two different examples on two different how two different authors develop their study based on 7 basic steps. The first of all, they also had to do the literature review, and they also had to give the very clear definition about what is the academic attainment, what is the social background, what is the early enlightenment. We can hear about it all the time, but for a research, we need to say about it clearly. What is the lifestyle? What is the discourse analysis? And secondly, we need to develop the research question, and the research question should be precisely. It should be something like how, what, where, when, why, to what extent, and it should not be like the is like something yes or no. To what extent is a very good way to formulate the research question. And here, when you see the sampling case, you can see that in some research, the author choose a very big sample, like 1,700 applicants with strict qualification, and the other research only choose 20 early retired, because it's enough to represent for the whole population in that case. So the sampling could be vary from very big to very small, as long as it can be present for the population. And the data collection is also different. It depends on the research person. And the last one, finding about that one. And data analysis, we will study about this later. But by looking at this, you can see that this author using the quantitative, the statistical analysis, and this research use the thematic analysis, the qualitative analysis. Yep. So that is the end of the research process, and the purpose of this chapter is for you to have the general picture about how to do the research and why is it important and what we need to do to have a good research. Okay, do you have any